My manager told me if I logged one more bathroom break she was going to write me up, and that was the moment I decided to destroy her with a spreadsheet. Her name was Denise. She ran the customer service floor at a mid-size insurance company in Ohio, and she had just rolled out a new policy from corporate. Every employee had to log every single minute of their workday in 15-minute increments. Calls, breaks, training, everything. HR said it was for productivity tracking. Denise said it was so she could catch people slacking off. She said it looking straight at me, because 3 days earlier I had asked her why my raise had been delayed for the 4th month in a row. I had been at that company for 6 years. I trained new hires. I covered shifts nobody wanted. I answered angry customer calls that made grown men cry, and I never once complained. But when Denise handed me that new time logging policy printed on bright yellow paper, she smiled in a way that told me this was personal. The policy was simple on paper. Log every minute in 15-minute blocks. No exceptions. No rounding. Every employee, every day, submitted to HR for review. So I decided to follow it exactly. Not sort of. Not mostly. Exactly. The next morning I logged everything. 7:58, arrived at desk. 7:59, opened laptop. 8:01, waiting for computer to boot. 8:04, computer still loading. 8:06, computer finally usable, opened email. 8:07, read first email. 8:08, replied to first email. 8:09, bathroom break, 4 minutes. 8:13, washed hands, 90 seconds. 8:15, returned to desk. I logged every phone call down to the second the customer said goodbye. I logged every time my headset needed adjusting. I logged every time Denise stopped by my desk to talk, and I labeled those entries exactly as what they were. 11:14, unscheduled conversation with supervisor, topic unrelated to work duties, 4 minutes. Tuesday I added a new category. Time spent recovering focus after supervisor interruption. I logged that too, because Denise stopped by 7 times that day to ask questions that could have easily been one email. I logged 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there, once a full 9 minutes because she wanted to discuss a customer complaint that had nothing to do with me. By Wednesday my time log was 11 pages long. Denise noticed on Thursday. She called me into her office and told me I was taking this too far. I told her I was simply following the policy she gave me, printed on yellow paper, signed by her, distributed to the whole floor. I even had a copy in my bag. She said nobody logs it like this. I said the policy did not say to log it any other way. She stared at me for a long moment and told me to stop being difficult. I said I was not being difficult. I was being compliant. Word got around the floor fast. My coworker Marcus started doing the same thing. Then Priya, then almost the entire team of 18 people started logging every single minute exactly the way the policy demanded. Bathroom breaks. Coffee refills. Time spent waiting for the printer. Time spent listening to Denise explain why she was changing a schedule for the 3rd time that week. Denise had created a monster and she did not even realize it yet. By the following Monday, HR received 18 employee time logs that were each 10 to 15 pages long. Every single one documented, in painful detail, exactly how much time was being wasted every single day by things completely outside our control. Slow computers. Broken headsets. Understaffed shifts. Constant interruptions from management. And buried inside every single log, again and again, was the same pattern. Unscheduled conversation with supervisor. 15 minutes here. 20 minutes there. Sometimes 45 minutes a day, all logged under Denise's name, all documenting time she pulled us away from our actual jobs to micromanage things that did not need managing. By that point the whole floor had a nickname for it. People called it the Yellow Paper Rebellion, though nobody said it loud enough for Denise to hear. In the break room, people compared logs like trading cards, laughing quietly about how many minutes they had lost that week to things nobody could control. It stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like power, because for the first time we had something in writing that nobody could argue with. HR called an emergency meeting that Thursday. I was not in the room, but Marcus was, and he told me everything afterward. The regional HR director drove in from Columbus. She had printed copies of every single time log spread across the conference table. She asked Denise to explain why, according to the very policy she had created and signed, her own team was logging that they spent nearly 2 hours a day dealing with supervisor interruptions instead of doing their actual jobs. Denise tried to say the logs were exaggerated. The HR director pulled out call center software data that tracked computer login times, phone call durations, and desk activity. It matched our logs almost to the minute. Denise tried to say we were mocking the policy. The HR director asked her a simple question. Did the policy say to log every minute or not? Denise said yes. The HR director asked if our logs matched that instruction. Denise had no answer. Then the CEO walked in. Nobody expected him. He rarely visited that office, but apparently he had been copied on an email thread by the regional director asking why an entire department was reporting nearly 40% of its day lost to unnecessary meetings, broken equipment, and management interruptions. He wanted to see the logs himself. He sat down, flipped through 3 of them slowly, and asked one question that made the whole room go silent. He asked how long this had been happening before the new policy forced it into writing. Nobody answered right away, so I finally spoke up, because Marcus had called me in during the meeting since half the team could not explain their own logs as well as I could. I told the CEO that this had been happening for years. We just never had proof before. The new policy accidentally gave us the proof. I told him about the 4 months my raise had been delayed with no explanation. I told him about the 15 employees who had quit that year, and how exit interviews always mentioned Denise but nothing ever changed. I told him the yellow paper policy was supposed to catch us wasting time, but instead it caught management wasting ours. The CEO closed the folder in front of him. He looked at Denise and asked her directly if she had any idea her own policy would produce this result. She did not answer. She could not answer. He thanked us for our honesty and ended the meeting. 3 days later, Denise was no longer our manager. She was quietly moved to a different department with no direct reports, which everyone on the floor understood to mean exactly what it meant. The new manager was a woman named Rachel from another branch. Her first act was to cancel the yellow paper policy completely and replace it with something normal, something that trusted employees to do their jobs without treating every bathroom break like a crime. My raise came through the following pay period. 4 months late, but it came with back pay, and an apology from HR that I did not expect but definitely appreciated. Marcus got promoted to team lead. Priya finally got the schedule she had been requesting for a year so she could pick up her kids from school. Small things, but things that mattered, things Denise had refused to approve for reasons nobody understood. I kept a printed copy of that original yellow policy in my desk drawer for a long time after that. Not out of anger. Just as a reminder that sometimes the people who make the rules never expect anyone to actually follow them completely. They expect shortcuts. They expect people to bend the truth a little to make their numbers look better. We did not bend anything. We told the truth in exactly the format they demanded, in exactly the detail they required, and the truth was more damaging to them than any complaint we ever could have filed. Denise thought she was building a trap for us. She ended up building the exact evidence that proved everything we had been saying for years. All she had to do was write a fair policy and enforce it fairly, and none of this would have ever happened. Instead, she wrote a weapon and handed it straight to the people she was trying to control. Sometimes the loudest revenge is not revenge at all. Sometimes it is just 18 people doing exactly what they were told, on paper, in writing, with a timestamp on every single minute. And sometimes that is more than enough. It does not take shouting or threats. It just takes patience and a willingness to follow the rules more carefully than the people who wrote them ever expected.